Well, folks, the roads are so bad out there that one Indiana man is protesting all those potholes by filling one up with a plant. His video going viral the same week the administration is pushing for even more federal funding to repair our roads and bridges. But, Rich, you say we already have enough money for the potholes.
Yeah, we do. You know, and what's really disturbing here is that in the 20th century, government projects included the Golden Gate Bridge, the interstate highway system, you know, in space travel, putting a man on the moon. I don't know why the government is so screwed up to build big infrastructure projects or improvements today, but the fact of the matter is they can't. We need to get more private competition. I was on a private road from John Wayne Airport to another place in Southern California. It was a beautiful road.
Well, Bill, as Rich suggests, it's not rocket science filling potholes.
I think there's a rare case where the unions, the big spenders, and the president are all on the side of the angels. I really think we should be putting unemployed construction workers to work. And no, I don't quite agree with Rich that the way to solve the problem of a rusting overpass is for Google to build another overpass right alongside of it so we can have competition. I don't think that's efficient.
Well, but Sabrina, let's just look at the money involved here. The billions and billions of tax dollars from our fuel, from our car registration, from our tolls. Well, look at this list. It adds up to almost $100 billion there. I mean, there's over $100 billion. There's clearly enough to fill potholes, no?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, this new bill is another $302 billion. Look, I sympathize with the problem of infrastructure problems. We have water main breaks here in Washington all the time that hold up traffic and cause lots of lost work hours. But the fact is, I think we need more transparency, competition, and accountability first before we throw more good money after bad. The reality is there is a lot that can be done to make sure that these projects are done correctly the first time.
Rick, is just one word, misallocation. So many times when these hundreds of billions of dollars are misallocated, it doesn't take hundreds of billions of dollars to fill potholes.
Yeah, I love that guy, by the way. We should have him here in the studio. He cracks me up. Look, I mean, I'm kind of with the Neil Cavuto school on this, where I agree we really should get an accounting of where the money has gone. But what I do worry about is we're going to politicize this and argue about this for so long that we are quickly descending into a third world nation status with our infrastructure. Figure out if you want to go private, figure out if you want to go public. I'm willing to try it either way, but let's not mess around with this for too long.
The point is that the money is there. More federal dollars. Washington doesn't have a clue about how to fix potholes in Indianapolis, does it?
Of course not. And the whole trust fund was set up to first build the interstate highway system and then maintain it. And now that the federal government can't do it, give the money back to the states. And the other thing to keep in mind on infrastructure, David, is we don't have a problem with freight rail in this country. Private sector does it very nicely. Don't have a problem with packages with FedEx and UPS. They do it very nicely. So when the private sector is involved, the capital is there, it's maintained, and innovation's brought in. Why not do it with highways?
And, Mike, these transportation bills have become Exhibit A in government waste and boondoggles and every politician patting his own constituent, right?
Yeah, I think the way to fix all those potholes that Bill is concerned about is actually to shrink the scope of the bill. We don't need the transportation bill to monitor car imports from Mexico, the internet, and also be a bank as well, and then try to create green jobs. We need to fill Bill's potholes, and we could do that. There's more than enough money to do that if we just focus.
Yeah. Bill, as long as we have focus and accountability. Just have accountability, and there's much less accountability coming from Washington than there is from these localities.
Well, I'm not sure that all state transportation departments are totally free of corruption.
No, but they're better than the feds, and they're closer to the action. They're closer to the actual potholes.
When I drive along state and federal routes and look overhead at the rusting girders, I think, wow, when is that going to fall on my head? I think we should be spending more money on this stuff.
Rich, go ahead.
What happened?
Well, look, everybody's right here. The U.S. is rapidly falling behind in infrastructure. You see it when you go particularly to Asia and you land at the airports and you go on the highways and then you come back here. Something has got to be done. I agree with Rick. But the government, which once was able to accomplish these great tasks, somehow is just completely incapable of doing it now.
Sabrina, I cut you off. Go on.
No. Well, I just want to know. To the stimulus money, we had nearly $1 trillion that was supposed to go towards shovel-ready jobs and solve our economic, our jobless rate. So I'm just confused what happened to that money. And now we're going to pour more money into this.
Rick, that's a great question. Well, I have, by the way, a pile in my office. I've kept it ever since the stimulus came out back about 5 years ago. And it's not the whole thing, but a big chunk of that stimulus bill was supposed to be fixing potholes.
I'm glad you said that, because the question was a bit of an over-exaggeration. It wasn't $1 trillion towards that.
No, but it was billions of dollars.
Tax breaks. But I got to tell you, even where I live in California, or where I lived in California, we had a project going on in the city there that I could see every day was being paid for by that. Look, what's important here is if we can sit here and argue about this until the cows come home, people have to get concerned and serious about our infrastructure. People are going to get hurt. We are going to fall behind. This is not who we want to be.
But I think you put the pressure on the localities, right, Steve?
Yeah. Absolutely. You get accountability. People can see it there, as you see in Indiana. That illustration's the best thing going.
Last word. Reagan used to call it block grants. Thanks, everybody. Well, everyone's abuzz about Jay-Z and Beyonce's privacy being invaded, but should our real beef be over who's collecting massive data on our kids at school? That's on Cashing In. But first, right here, lawmakers flying in style on your dime. It's a time to ground their first-class flight plans and toss them back into coach. That debate coming next.